Welcome to all of you on the day 2 of CSS Beginners to Advanced series. And today we will be completing the rest of the CSS Basics part and the CSS Flexbox. So let's get start. One second. I hope my screen is visible to you. So let's wait for some time so that some more people will join and then we will start with the CSS basics, rest of the CSS basics and rest of the CSS basics and CSS Flexbox. Today we will be completing the CSS Flexbox also. So welcome all, and let's start. We will start in some couple of seconds. So today we will be completing the CSS basics, rest of the CSS basics, and CSS Flexbox. Tomorrow there will be no class, and on Thursday we will be completing. We will start the CSS Grid, and on Friday we will complete the CSS Grid with some projects. So that's the schedule, and yeah. Hi, Network Kumar. Hi. So that's the schedule for the day, or so I can say for the series. So we'll start now, or let's wait for 2 more minutes. Let me have my setup by that time. So I hope my voice is clear. Can someone please confirm that my voice is clear or not? Am I audible properly, clearly, without any echo, without any crack? Can someone please confirm? So welcome all. Let's start, or let's wait for 1 more minute here. Thanks, Mohammed. Thanks, yeah. And also I can say the fonts which you see in front of your screen is also visible on the mobile handset also. So we will start now.
Yeah, hello, Hemant, hello, yeah.
So let's start now. Uh, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. So let's start now. Uh, Yesterday we have completed till alignment and positioning. So today we will be using we will be using the CSS positioning, and here we will discuss how we will be positioning our contents across the screen, or in case we have to place our content in the box, how we will be using it. Yeah, hi Abdul, how are you? It's long. And one more thing, let me share some WhatsApp group link so that you can also get to know the updates, what we are doing, how we are doing. Yeah, hi Devakar. I request to all, to also the new members, to please click on this WhatsApp link, join the group, so that you will have the idea that what are we doing, when are we doing, what are the projects, what are the series going on, like that. So let us have let us start with the positioning. Actually, there are four ways of position any item properly in CSS. First one is the static, second one is the relative, third one is the absolute, and fourth one is the fixed. So there are four ways in which you can actually properly position any item in the CSS. Fine. So first one is the static. Static is actually the normal behavior of the item, or you can say it's the natural behavior or the neutral behavior. Fine. Static is that's it. Now let us have a div, and inside this, one second, we have a class, and let's have the class as position box, and inside this div we have h1, and we will have h1 as css and h2 as basics. So now what we will do, we will actually, with the help of CSS positioning, we will move these items. Now let me have this class copied, and now we will target this particular class, and inside this we will have a width of 800 px and height of px, and also we will create a border of 2 px solid with orange red color. So now if you see, or I can say if you notice here, CSS is in the top as it is under H1, and basics is in the bottom as it is under the h2 as it. This is actually the static behavior or the by default behavior or the natural behavior of the element. Now we will be using the position relative and position absolute and position fixed options to move these items within the box or within the page. So now let us have dot position box, and we will use the h1, and here position is absolute, and this option from the top we will shift this to 40 px. So if you see what has happened here, from the top 40 px, the h1 which is css moves down. One second, you can't join the group because the link was reset. Hemant, you can't. Okay, 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 okay. Not an issue. I will share the another link. And thanks for the update, Hemant. Yeah, thanks for the update. And WhatsApp group. You all can refer this link, please, in order to join. That might get expired. Not to worry. So we are actually on position absolute. So here, if you see, or I can say, if you have noticed, CSS now comes below the basics. How? Because with the help of position absolute, we have shift from the top to 40 px. Now, here what is happening? Here, this page is considered as the parent. The top of this page is considered as the parent. Now, let us use this border. In case if we want this border to be the parent, we will have to use the position relative. And if you see, now this line will be the parent, and from here h1 is 40 px down from this border box. Now let us target h2, and the position will be absolute, and from the right we will use 55p. So see, from the right 55px, this has shifted here. Now the third one, no, now the fourth one is the position fixed. Position fixed. So here for this, so let us have a button. The name of this button will be fixed button, and we will use SSS BTN and FBTN. We will use two class here. I will tell you why. So now let us use dot f button, and here we will give the position as fixed. Fine. And from where to fix? From top, we will ask you to fix 80px. So from the top, it is 80px fixed. Irrespective of the page, irrespective of the screen size, this button will remain here only. So that is the property or the beauty of this fix button. This button will remain as it is, irrespective of the page size, screen size, like that. It will not move anywhere. Even though you all know CSS is very responsive, and in the response part, CSS Grid and CSS Flex are also responsive. CSS Grid are very responsive, but if you give this fix button, this button will remain as it is on that screen. Why? Because it has taken the top of the screen as their parent. Now let us do some work on the background images, how we will be using the images or how we will be inserting the images. One second. So let us have background images. One second. Do we have? Yes, we have two images. Fine, perfect. Now in this position box, we will insert background image using the URL. If you see here, but if you see here, this image is not the full image. So in order to fix it, one second, we have to use background repeat as no repeat. Now, and here, in order to make this image to fit completely, we will be using background size as power. Fine. Now here, what is the issue? This is how you can actually use and place your items. So one second. Now this looks perfect. Why? Because the size of this image looks similar to the earlier one. Fine. This looks perfect. So now let us have let us have some more pseudo class properties in which we will be discussing the nth child properties. So for this, let me do one thing. Remove it. Index. So let us have a basic structure, and here we will be using a UL, and in this UL we will have li into a, or it will not work. Li item 1. So 1, 2, 3. So we have item 1 till item 8. Fine. Now we will have a class here as list. Now we will be targeting this list item, this class list here, and here we will be assigning the pseudo class properties. How? I will show you. Dot list in the li part to the first child. We will assign the background to orange. Right now we will, one second. Now we will use the last child to background green. Fine. Now we will use the nth child, and we declare the child number 3 to background orange, red, or I can say the pink color, or here also I can say the nth child, item number 6, we will give as orange color. Fine. So this is how you can pick any of the child and assign colors. Now we have one more property in which using odd even function you can assign these. So now let's have dot uh, a dot list, and we will have the nth child, um, nth child p1, yes, and the same we will use the nth child as odd. See, without using anything we have assigned this thing. So this is how you can actually place colors if you have so many rows in even and odd pattern. Fine. You can use even first or odd first, that depends on your requirements. So here I can say we have completed the CSS basics part, and now we will do one thing. Now we will start with CSS Flexbox. So the basics part has been completed by now, and system will automatically share the attendance sheet by default. So don't ask for that. Now, what is Flexbox? Flexbox is nothing but it is a display property. Fine. Now let me do the initial setup for the Flexbox. So we will change it to CSS Flex. So it implements here. See. Now, what is CSS Flex? CSS Flex, let's have some theoretical first, then we will go into the practical. So in this CSS, if I can say, as you all know, CSS is being governed by the W3 school, and it is a property of W3 schools only. In 1995, CSS, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript has been invented, but in 2015, a major upgrade has been happened, and at that time, CSS Flexbox, CSS Grid has been invented. So that upgrade happened in 2015 in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Fine. So now let us start with CSS Flexbox. CSS Flexbox is nothing but it's a display property. Fine. Here you can actually place items as per your requirement. So let us have uh, wait. Let us do one thing. Let me create a basic structure, then we will add the CSS into it. Okay. This is a class container. So here if you see what we did, a simple parent container. Inside this we have child containers with two classes, a class box and a class box 1, box 2 for individuals, and the item, then the element is the 1 to 10. Now here if you see in the CSS part, we have not much. Now let us start with the CSS Flexbox. Now dot sorry dot class name, and we have display as flex. Now what has happened here? And let us have border of 5p, solid of orange color. So what has happened here? Every item aligns in a single row where the direction is from left to right. Fine. All items aligned in a single row. Now let us have another property in which if you notice or if you focus, the item ends where the row ends, or I can say this border ends where the item ends. So this is the beauty of inline flex, which ends in the same line where the row ends, the item ends. Earlier in the flex, it is somewhat like. Now let me do one thing. Okay, fine, perfect. Now let us have. Now let us have. Oh, one second, one second. Have some height also of 100 vertical height. So we have given the height of 100 vertical height to of the items. Now let us have the flex direction. Now the flex direction is which the main axis flow. Here the main axis is by default row. Now what we will do, we will have the flex direction, or we will use the flex direction as row first, right? Now let me change this direction to column and see what has happened. So here it comes in the original shape. Now the direction of the flex is from top to bottom. Earlier, or I can say the by default, it is from left to right. Fine. So here, if we declare it or if we not declare it, the by default direction of flex will be row only, which is from left to right. And here we have changed the direction to column, which is from top to bottom. Now let me do one thing. Let me remove it, save it, and dot box. And in this, one second, and here let me assign the width to 300px. Now see what has happened here. And one more thing, as I told you, CSS is very responsive. So automatically, depending on the size of the screen, it adjusts themselves. Now we have given the width of 300px. Fine. And we will use the flex wrap property, in which the value will be wrapped. Now see here, if you see, one second, see, as soon as any item gets the width of 300px, it adjusts automatically by next. So this is the responsiveness of CSS. Now if I say the width to 33.33%, let us see what is happening here. Nothing will happen. Why? Because we have fixed the width to 33.33% depending upon the size of the available screen. Now let us have some border, or I can say spaces between the items. For this we will use the border property of 3p solid of white color. So if you see, this white border is created here with the help of this border property. Now, one second. Okay, fine. Now, let us have a new a very important property in CSS Flex, which is called as a Flexbox Ordering. And ordering is a very simple way in which you can move the order of your flex. Order of your flex means, now let us use, one second, flex 1 and here. Now if you see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, 10. All these things are in a proper order now. Now, if I want any item, or let me have dot box 3, I want this box 3 to change the order in 2. See, it has shift after 10. And if I want dot box 7 and I want the order to 7, what has happened? It has shifted after item number 3. So this is how you can change the flex box ordering property, or you can change the order of any item as per your requirement. Now let us have one another topic in CSS Flexbox, which is called as alignment and centering. One second. Alignment and centering. Alignment is always the same as what we have covered in CSS Basics. In CSS Flex, we will start now, and we will cover this in CSS Grid also. So let us start with alignment here. One second. Now, what is this alignment basically? Now, in order to understand the alignment, we will be using the value of alignment is the justify content. Now let us have justify content as flex start. So every container is in the, every item will be in the start only. And one second, let me have a border also of 3p solid of orange red color. Now, if I say flex and see, entire content have shift towards the end in this border. Fine. Now if I give the next value as center, see, in this border every item is in the center. This will be very helpful for you when you are designing your menus your footers like that. Now let us have the another value as space between. So spaces have created in between. We'll have the space around. See, see this space have created and this space has created. This is the beauty of CSS space around. Space evenly the space has been distributed now. Now this here we have the direction of the main axis as left to right. Now let us have let us change the direction to column now. Now let us see what will happen. We have given minimum height as 100 vertical height. Now let us change this also to flexi start. Now one second. Flex and okay. One second. Start entire content now shift towards the start of the page. End means in the end of the page. Center means in the center. Space between spaces has distributed between them, and space evenly. Here you can see the space here also and here also. Space around. So these are the values of justify content where we have changed our main axis from left to right to top to bottom using the flex direction column property. Now let us switch to the another important property of CSS Flexbox, which is called as the align item property. So in order to align an item, which is actually the opposite of justify content. Now let us use the basic structure here, and we will use the align item as stretch, flex start, flex end, enter. The space between will not work here. So this is how you can have start will work. So this is how you can have the values of align items, which is the flex start, flex end, center, and stretch. Now we will have a baseline property also. One second for this. Let me have a basic structure and we will see how we will be using the baseline property. So here if you see, irrespective of the size of the box or the fonts, the base of all the item is same. See, the base of all the item is same. Why this is required? Because here if you see or if you notice, these kind of I can say practice or this kind of thing is required majorly in web pages where you want to highlight your items one below the another. So this is the baseline property which is very helpful, and using the single line code align item baseline you can actually align all the items in a single line, keeping the base of all the items common. So guys, is everybody still here physically and mentally? Can I cross check once again? My voice is clear, my screen is clear. Can someone please reply? Yeah, thanks Rohit. Yeah. And let me have, yeah, thanks Suraj. Thanks Amit. So I have shared the day second attendance link here. You all are requested to please fill right here, right now. While the meantime, I will wait for a minute. Please fill right here, right now. Let me have a water. Fine. So going back to the CSS Flexbox. Here, now we will have some Flexbox container property which is called as align content property. We have earlier seen justify content. Similar to justify content, we have align content which moves from top to bottom. By default, Flex have the property of row which is from left to right, but here align use the property of top to bottom. Now let me have the basic structure. Fine, perfect. Now, one second, one second. Fine. So now we will be using dot box width of 33.3. So now, one second. Fine. So now let us use the align content property here as how we will be using the align content. Now, let us have some flux wrap also to the wrap value, and here if you see which results like this, and it is also responsive. Fine, perfect. So now let us have now let us have mm, 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 have the align content to flex start. So entire content have shift to the start. Now we have flex end. So entire content now shift towards the end. These are the values of align content. Similar value which is called as the center. Now next value will be also the same, which is the space between. Also next will be the space around. Space evenly, let me see. No, it will not work. These are the four start and center stretch around between. So these are the six values of align content, similar to justify content what we have covered here. Now let's have some more flex item properties. For this we will use a we will actually use to align a single item here. So if I want to change the alignment of this item to, irrespective of the size of the properties what I have given, for this there is a property which is called as align self. Align self, as the name simply says, alignment of a single item or of the self one. So this is how we will be using the align self property here. Let me set up align items as flex start. Fine, and here now if you see, I have irregularized the sizes of three items. Now let us use the align self property to flex start, or I can say flex, and also align self to center, and here also align self to flex start. So as it is in the start, so it will not move anywhere. Even I can say end, so it will move towards the end. So this is how you can use the justify items property. Fine. Now let us have some flex grow, flex basis, and flex shrink properties. Fine. So here let me have a basic change in the div, and here now let us use the flex shrink flex basis property here, and we will have some shortcuts also for these properties, and we will have the full version also. Now we will have, one second, these are not required. So we will have the display flex. Now let us have, or I can say, one second, dot box, let's apply flex as one. So now it is aligned more properly. Dot box success 2, and we will use, or I will do one thing, let me comment out for some time. Here we have the display flex for dot box 1. One second. Dot box 1, we have the flex as 1, and for dot box 2 we have flex 1, 1 and 0. Here this 1, 1 and 0 represents flex grow, flex shrink, and flex basis. The first one is for flex grow, second one is for flex shrink, and the last one is for flex basis. It means Either we can give these three properties as together, or we can use these properties separate also. So for this, let me have the separate part. Flex basis, then flex basis as dx. Now we will add here flex grow flex grow as 2, and here also flex grow as 1. Always try to use shortcuts because it will always save your time. Now flex shrink as 3, and here also flex shrink as 1. Fine. So this is how you can, and 1 minute, see the response. Automatically it adjusts themselves. So this is how you can actually use these properties in the CSS Flexbox. Yeah, hi. That align item center property only works for flex only. How to set vertically center items other than flex? So for this we have CSS Grid that we will cover, or that we will start on Thursday. So that's it for the day. And on Thursday, same time, we will start with CSS Grid. And on Friday, we will complete the grid with some project also. So thanks a lot. Thank you. Bye bye.